Courtney Pearl from Practically Magic. I'm just popping in to let you know we have some really fun witchy events going on locally in Daybreak at Land of a Thousand Hills. I will be there doing tarot for tips on October 12th and 26th, so Sinner Sunday, coffee and tarot. We are having a really fun witches night out with spells, food, tarot. You can get dressed up in your witchiest self, and that's October 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. We have a ghost storytelling night, obviously sponsored by Ride the Wave Media, who is doing the Ghost Movie Project with me. We are doing that October 3rd, 6 to 8. It's an open mic night, so you can come and just enjoy some beverages and listen to ghost stories, or you can sign up to tell one. And then we are having a mother-daughter rainbow paint night. Rainbow magic. It can be for mothers and daughters, sisters, any pairing that you would like. Come enjoy a night of color magic facilitated by yours truly, of course. And all of that can be available on the Practically Magic website. You can purchase your tickets for the Witches Night Out and the Mother-Daughter Paint Night, or you can just show up for the ghost stories or tarot for tips. We'll be excited to see you. Hello, welcome to Practically Magic. I am one of your hosts, Courtney Pearl.
I'm Jaime Osbahr.
And we're going to hopefully have some fun today and talk about all of our adventures and touch on some really awesome subjects. But let's pull a card. I have a very particular reason for using this deck. I'm using the Everyday Witch, hence why I'm dressed up today. This is just what I look like going around the neighborhood, and I just wanted to show it off because sometimes I walk around and people are like, oh my gosh, I love that hat, or I love that. And I'm like, this is just me.
Just how I roll.
Being me. Mm-hmm. This feels to me like the best version of myself. When I'm walking around and being myself and doing my thing. But yeah, I have a lot of humor that I like to use in my everyday life. And this is my way of being playful with that. So when I call myself Daybreak's local witch, I know it rubs people the wrong way a little bit, but
only one person that I know of, really, but
we could go into that. But anyway, it really is just a playful way for me to just
kind of
make fun of myself.
Well, and kind of ease people into the idea of who you are.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Ease people into me.
Right.
You need to dip your toe in before you really get to know all this.
In this, what's the word I'm looking for?
The mystical realm?
No, the state. The people in this state. Right. They need a little easing into some of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like they're ready to just go, oh, you're a witch. And I like that. It's more of like, oh my God.
Yeah, they're like, what does that mean?
You're a witch.
What am I supposed to know about that?
And that's...
So I have my Everyday Witch, which I like because it's kind of a playful witchy deck. It's got brooms and cats and hats and all the good stuff. The 10 of Cups.
Oh.
This is actually perfect for us. I'm going to show the picture so those on YouTube can see it. Oh, it's this little family having a picnic. This is really... the card that comes up a lot of times with completeness, which we were just talking about all of our adventures. Jaime and I both have been on traveling adventures and doing all kinds of things in the past couple weeks. It's been crazy, fun, but crazy. And this feels perfect because it's like coming together, settling down. All of that is done. We have what we need. Yeah, we're coming into a place of like kind of an emotional rest.
Oh,
emotional rest.
I need that right now. I'm telling you.
Yes.
It's been fun. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining because it's been some really amazing, awesome adventures. And I wouldn't trade it for anything, but I am physically exhausted. Somewhat emotionally exhausted as well, but mostly just physically exhausted. I feel like I could sleep for days and still not feel rested. But
I feel that.
Here we are.
Yes. We're here early in the morning before the shop opens, and we're still here doing it. Yes. So we're ready. So the reason why I wanted to pull that and kind of focus today, I will start by asking you a question, because I want to know, when you are out in public, when you go out, not just with your own immediate family or like really close friends, but when you're kind of out in a public setting with other people, how do you know you are in your most true, authentic state, even amongst people and stuff?
Most likely, lately, I think is what I was trying to say. Lately, it's been because I've been exposed to a lot of different people over the last 3 weeks. A lot of different cultures, a lot of different languages, a lot of different people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think being true to myself means I'm actually like holding my head up and making eye contact with people,
Ooh.
right? It's like I don't know that I've ever been secure enough in myself to do that, to
Yeah.
like pick my head up and look around and see who's around me and actually let them see me. It's more about letting other people in than it is really like seeing other people, because you can sense other people and you can kind of glance around and see what's there. But when you really pick your head up and you look people in the eye and you make that eye contact,
Mm.
that's where I feel the most vulnerable.
That is hard.
It's really hard.
I struggle with that. I
Mhm.
struggle to be like, okay, I can look right at you.
Mhm.
I know my good friends in our circle of people that we hang with, they already know that I'm not much of a hugger. I don't mind hugs. It's not that I'm like, ew. I'm just not one to initiate hugs.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, a hug is coming at me. Okay, here we go. Like I have to put myself out there a little more, or allow myself to be a little more vulnerable to do that with
Mhm.
people. And even like some people, if I don't know them very well and they're just coming in for a hug, I'm like, oh, awkward. I don't know you that well. So I think for me, yeah, looking them in the eye, head held high, that could feel really open, really
Really
like, I'm
vulnerable.
letting you really see me. But
Mhm.
I realized, because I was doing the red carpet interviewed stuff last week, first time ever. It was very public. It was very quick, fast paced, lots of different people. You're just like, I got to get to the heart of what we need to say quickly. I found myself looking right at them, making eye contact, um, and wanting really to connect,
Mhm.
but also feeling myself putting on a bit of a show. It wasn't really me that was looking at them. It was like, interview me. It was
Mhm.
like, you're not going to get to know me in 15 seconds. So I'm just going to connect with you here
On the surface level. Yeah.
and do this and feel. And I just really wanted them to know I was listening. I was taking in what they were saying. I was really connecting, and not just doing it like, whatever. Hello. Bye.
Yeah.
It was like, yes, I
I'm
hear you. But I also wasn't totally myself. I wasn't letting them in to me
right.
necessarily.
Because it wasn't really about you.
It wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. It was about
That's very cool.
them and why they were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of different. But
Mhm.
I think about this because it occurred to me recently that when I'm with some of the people that in my that I know really well, or that are like my family, or particularly my sister, I think it's kind of rare to have that kind of relationship. But I can laugh. We can laugh like I can't with anyone. I don't know, that I
No.
rarely get to have with other people,
Mm.
where things just, even if they're not even that funny to us in the moment, it's like tears. My
Mhm.
stomach hurts. And I've had a few friends that I've been able to do that with. So I started thinking about that. And when I get around people, if I start to engage with humor, that's when I realize I feel relaxed. I feel like I'm really showing people who I am.
Mm.
If I can really just start to goof off, I'm probably my most
Authentic.
authentic state. So it started to make me think about humor and where that plays a part in magic, in healing, in all of the things.
Yeah.
Right?
It's interesting because this is something I've been thinking about for myself a lot lately. Um, when you think about people like Robin Williams,
Mm-hmm.
I know they talk about how he masked his depression with humor.
Yeah.
That resonates pretty deeply with me because I think
Uh-huh.
a lot of the trauma that I experienced in my childhood growing up, and throughout life, not just in my childhood, but like throughout life, never learning how to process and understand those traumas and how they may or may not define who I am. I masked it all. And I would just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, let's just make fun of it.
Yeah.
It's just funny. It's like, I know it happened and blah, 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 but I'm gonna make light of it. I'm gonna make a joke out of it. Right.
Yeah. It's a
So,
coping mechanism for sure.
oh, yeah. So now I'm trying to determine if I'm actually funny or I'm just trying to deflect, right? Like I'm just trying to
That's a good
deflect it
question.
to something other than so I do that a lot.
Yeah.
So it's almost the opposite for me, where if I'm being funny and I'm like trying to make people laugh, I'm more trying to like deflect from my true emotions.
Yeah. It can be an avoidance too. It can be
Mhm.
like, I'm avoiding what I really don't want to talk about.
Mhm.
I can distract people who, maybe are trying to touch on that or come at me deeper.
Mhm.
I can deflect by being like, let's make this lighthearted. Let's
Yeah.
just make it fun.
Yeah.
I think it can be both. I think it depends on, what the come from is. Where does that come from?
Right.
And I was thinking about this topic again this morning as I'm getting ready, and I'm thinking about my dad's side of the family. They are so humorous. And I remember family parties, family gatherings, usually at Christmas time. We didn't get together as often as my mom's side of the family, but when we did, it would be like a Christmas party or something. And it was kind of competition, like where in the room is the most laughter coming from? And
Mm.
then I would gravitate towards that. Like, oh, they're having a good time over there. I got to get over there and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And even we would have these moments where we would be at a table sitting down eating. And we had a big family, so there's lots of tables, people eating. But we would be like, hey, we have to make sure we're the funniest table so you guys laugh a lot, okay? And then we would laugh on purpose. And my cousin, the oldest cousin in the family, he was just a riot, like just killing it. I don't know how to describe it. Just, you would just be like in awe
Just super punchy.
of how funny he could be. And then just, it was one after the other, just so witty and all that. And I remember my aunt saying to me once, and this stuck to me even to this day. I think about it all the time. She said, your dad used to be like that. Your dad was so funny before he had kids.
Sorry.
And I'm like,
Oh my God.
I'm the firstborn.
And
So
you're like,
I'm like,
oh,
so we ruined him or
cute.
something?
That's
I
awesome.
don't know how to take that, really.
Oh.
I know she didn't mean it that way, but it's just funny to me that was the mark of, I don't know, of a reader, of like who we all were, was like the funnier you could be. And then it became like the Christmas letters that send out, our letters or our Christmas cards, family cards, whatever. It was almost like competition then too. And it was unspoken. We didn't talk about how, like, who can make the funniest card. It was just like my cousin would write up this whole thing, and it was clever and funny. It would be like, one year she did all of her kids. She had 4 daughters. She has 4 daughters. She did like if everybody was on a text chain talking to each other.
Oh my God.
And it was just like showing everybody's personalities, kind of hinting at some of the things that they were into or what they were doing, but it was mostly just really funny.
Mm.
It was just what it's like to have 4 daughters, all, teenagers, and they're texting each other. And my aunt loved to, back when Photoshop was kind of brand new, when that wasn't a thing that people were doing. Now you can do it like this with AI.
Mm-hmm.
But she was taking pictures of herself and her cat and putting them in pictures with other people. Like,
oh my gosh.
it would be like celebrities, or it would be whatever was like pop culture at the time. She would just send out a card with like Michael Jackson and her, and her cat. And we just loved it. And we would just get those cards, and it would be kind of this like, what are we going to do for our card this year? And all that. So humor was very connecting. At the same time, my dad's family, like I said, didn't get together a whole lot. So we didn't connect on really any other levels.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't calling my cousins and being like, I'm going through a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like we saw each other so much. In fact, my uncle, my dad's brother, and his family, they live in Daybreak. We moved in pretty close to them, and I think we've had dinner together once.
Oh my.
But we always trick or treat at their house. We love them so much. And we just don't really see them that much. But my dad's like, that's just the way we are. Yeah. It's not, he doesn't have any resentment towards it or anything. He's like, we've invited them a lot to things. They're more reserved that way. But man, when they all get together, it's like a hoopla of laughter and humor. And, that's kind of their culture.
Huh. Yeah, there's a lot of humor in my family too. It's just so interesting to really like reflect and think on it, because I think a lot of it was a mask from like deeper pain. You know what I mean? Like, I know my mom's dad, so my grandpa, was always making people laugh. And it always made me feel uncomfortable for the reason that, I don't know really how to put this. But I always, as a child, up into my teenage years, up into my early 20s, felt really uncomfortable around men.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really uncomfortable.
I relate to that.
And a lot of it, I think, came from my mom and her kind of negative speaking about men. But then she also, without really saying it, had some trauma around her relationship with her dad, so my grandpa. Mm-hmm. And I think I just always sensed that. Mm-hmm. I felt her reserve. And so then I was reserved, and I didn't really understand it until I got a little bit older. And my sister is 11 years older than me. So she's the oldest, I'm the youngest, and there's 4 brothers between us. Mm-hmm. So her experience with my grandparents, my grandpa, since I'm talking about him, was totally different than mine. And she loved being with him. She loved spending time with him. She loved talking with him, and would like seek being with him, right? Where I was more like, I don't mind being in the room with him, but I'm not going to like go sit with him, or, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I definitely know what you mean. It's really interesting to see both perspectives of humor, because when you talk about humor, you think, oh, they're having a good time. Something's funny. They're enjoying themselves. Yeah. Right. And then you think about the opposite side of that, where humor is masking the deep pain that people are experiencing.
It definitely can.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I think it's interesting that you experienced it on that level. Yeah. And I experienced it on the other level. It's not that I haven't experienced it on a good level. Like, and I have.
But it makes you wary of it, right. I think. And that's valid. Yeah. I mean, to be like, well, okay, this person's cracking jokes, or this is humorous, but now it makes me wary. It makes me wonder what else is going on, or
it even makes me reflect on me and why I say things to make people laugh. Is it because I want to see them be joyous, or is it because I'm trying to get their attention away from what's happening with me? Yeah. So I'm more aware of that now. And when people say, oh my gosh, you're so funny, I'm like, oh, wait, am I in a trauma response right now? Or am I actually like trying to connect with people? So I'm being very hyper vigilant about where I am when I make people laugh. That's
not a bad thing. I mean, even just when you say hyper vigilant, I think anxiety. And I wouldn't want anybody to be anxious about it. But just awareness is such a good thing. What you're describing is basically mindfulness. It's saying, oh, interesting. I'm observing. Mm-hmm. I feel like observing without the shame or without judgment will alleviate the anxiety.
Right.
It won't be like, oh, wait, what's going on? What's happening here?
Yeah,
What am I doing? It's like, oh, I noticed
yeah,
something
I feel like
about
that's where I
myself.
struggle is separating that.
Mhm.
Being aware of it, but not shaming myself for it. It's definitely something I'm working on, and being aware of it is, the first step, and thinking to myself, "Oh, did I mean to do that? Did I,"
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And just like kind of stepping back a little bit.
Yeah. Where am I
Mhm.
at from me? What's going on inner
Mhm.
work, in my inner work, in
Yeah.
my path
Yeah.
that I might need to be aware of? But also just allowing joy to be joy and fun to be fun and funny. And yeah, when I think about um, when you're at a level or a relationship where you feel comfortable to tease each other, that's really special. Because I
Mhm.
know, and maybe you can see this in intimate relationships like my spouse. When we're in a really good place, teasing is a love language.
Mhm.
It's like I can tease him, he can tease me. If we're both in kind of an unhealed space where stuff is triggering more
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it points to the shame, whatever the shame is about going on at that moment in time.
Mhm.
If the teasing points to that, it's not going to be perceived as teasing and love. It's going to be perceived as like, you're criticizing me, you're judging me. I don't appreciate it. It can create conflict.
Yeah. The defenses go up. You
Yeah.
feel attacked rather than playful. Yeah, I've experienced both.
Mm-hmm.
Like my family, the family that I created, right? My husband and my children, we're all about like having fun and making fun of each other.
Yeah.
When you're having a conversation and you say a word funny,
Yeah.
my daughter has a whole list in her phone of all the things that in conversation with her that people in our family have said. And every once in a while she
She's like, I have
opens it.
receipts.
She opens it and she reads through it and we just laugh and we laugh. And
Oh,
these are the people that I feel comfortable enough to have that where you laugh so hard you cry,
yes.
right? I
That's
don't
the
I
best,
can't
isn't
think
it?
of anybody else that I've actually had that with. Like I've laughed so hard that you're just like teary
Yeah.
and you can't catch your breath. You're like, "Oh my gosh, make it
Yeah.
stop. It hurts so much."
It's kind of the best. And I
It
really
is.
have rarely, when I see people who are online and they're like, this is my bestie, my ride or die, I struggle because I have not globbed on like to a bestie
Mhm.
much in my past. And that might be my own, what walls am I carrying that keep me from having that kind of relationship? Whereas other people find their person and they are doing everything with them. And I'm like, how fun. That's
Mhm.
so great for you. I feel like I have some really good friends and I have people who I can call and be like, hey, I've got this going on this weekend. Do you want to come? And I know we're going to have a great time. But it's rare for me to find someone that, yeah, you're sitting there having chats with or whatever, and you don't even need wine or some other influence to be just roaring with laughter. And you're just playing off of each other and the humor. I mean, it's just easy. It's flowing.
Mhm.
And yeah, and then you get into that. You can tease each other for like, remember when you said this?
So yes.
And we were all laughing so hard. Does she have stuff in her phone that she said?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah, no, it's
I like that.
and it's not just the family
She can
either.
laugh at
It's like
herself.
her friends and, things like that. So
Yeah.
it's really good. And it's a lot of fun to just kind of reminisce about those things and be able to laugh at ourselves.
Yeah. You have a deep history together. So all
Mhm.
that stuff, inside jokes, think about how that comes about. You don't have an inside joke if you haven't spent time together and had experiences together. And then you're like, remember when this? I think that's why me and my sister have that now, which I'm so glad we do because we're 5 years apart. So growing up, we were not close, I wouldn't say, because we were just completely different ages, developmental stages. She was just so little to me and I was probably so big to her. I don't know. I even look at my wedding and I'm like, I didn't have bridesmaids or anything. She was just my maid of honor. She was this little teenager with braces and all skinny and wearing like a prom dress for for her bridal, her bridesmaid dress. And I look at that and I go, oh, I was young getting married. I was 19. But then I look at her and I'm like, look, she was a kid and I was getting married. But now that she has kids and I have kids, I feel like we've met somewhat in the middle where like we're both in the same phases of life. We both kind of get each other. And she's one of those rare people that comes to you. Maybe this is my love letter. Hopefully she listens. This is my love letter to my sister. When she comes to visit, I'm so excited because I'm like, oh, we're going to spend, hours just laughing and it's going to be so fun. And I can't wait to have that reset. And we can get into talking about our past, our growing up, like what it was like growing up or like movies we watched, we talk about. I gave her it was her birthday, I think. I can't remember what it was, but I somehow found it online. There was a necklace that was a tree star with a jewel in the middle, little gold leaf from Land Before Time.
Oh my gosh.
Just because we both are like, remember Littlefoot? Remember how much we love that movie? Remember a tree star? Like we would talk about it all the time. So I don't know how it popped up on my, stuff. And I was like, oh, I have to get this for her. She will think this will be so funny that she'll get this tree star. It's, inside jokes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of again, we've talked about like generational stuff. It's like where that, my dad's side of the family, how humor is played out. It's also kind of a generational thing where it's like, how does that culture start to manifest itself in your family? And you created this new culture for your family, that's your immediate family, the family you created. Yes. I like the way you say that. The family I made is we kind of make that culture ourselves. I hope we get to a point, my kids get to an age when they're older that we're all like sitting around laughing. They're going to laugh at stuff that I did. I'm like, Mom, remember how frustrated you were with us when we wouldn't put our gosh dang shoes away? Remember
how angry you got? It was so funny. Like, and you're in that phase where your kids are younger. I'm in the phase where my kids are older. So we do reminisce and we talk about those, not specifically that, but we talk about like, remember this Christmas when all the packages were out and wrapped and the boys had these two big packages and Reagan says, oh, those must be the gaming chairs. Really? So did you find, like...
How did you know that?
We talk about that, we reminisce about the funny things that have happened. But I think it's actually, as we're talking about this, what's really interesting is now that my kids are older, there's kind of that separation of where they have their own autonomy. So we're not constantly spending time together. It's more, have to be very intentional about making that time to spend together.
Yeah.
In my travels in between, like here and there, I have really like vivid dreams. And this dream, we were all together and we were all talking about life, like things that have happened to us as a family and funny things. And I remember waking up from that going, oh, I really miss that. I really miss like sitting down with the kids and just hearing them talk. Yeah. Even if it's like, you didn't even know I was sneaking out and I was going to meet this person. And, and I look at them and I'm like, you think I'm dumb? Yeah. You think I didn't know? I didn't know. But you know what I mean? It's like, I really miss that.
Yeah. And that's a good point because you made me think of the quote. I don't know who said it, but it's, comedy is tragedy plus time.
Yeah.
And I think about all the frustrating things that happen as you're raising little kids. You can be like, oh, and it's not just little kids. I mean, we're going to be entering teenager time real soon in our house. Yeah. And I think, oh, here we go. This is where we get the sneaking out and the, pushing the boundaries, pushing the limits. And I'm going to be I can choose to be just frustrated and angry all the time, or I can really get my act together, which has been my goal for so many years. I'm getting it together, guys. I'm getting it together. But just being able to radically accept that this is what it's like raising kids. This is what, this is what they do. And that things are going to happen that I probably won't like in the moment. It's going to be like, oh, frustrating. And it's probably going to cost me money and whatever. So I have to remember that and thinking, if I flash forward to when we're all sitting around talking about this and they're adults and they're like, remember when we busted our head right through the drywall or some shit like that?
Whatever happened.
Whatever's going to happen. And I can just be, I'm like, this is going to be funny one day. So how do I want to be remembered? How do I want to be the one that existed in this event now? Am I going to be the one like tight
fighting it
or am I going to be like, well, this happened.
All right.
This will be a funny story someday.
Yeah.
Right now, I want to cry.
And that's okay too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You kind of have to just let it be what it is in the moment. You can't think, oh, how do I want to reflect on myself later?
Yeah.
Because even then it's going to be funny. Remember how mad you were, Mom? Remember how upset you were? Remember how this and that? And then it's like, yeah, I might have overreacted a little bit. So
yeah. When you have kids and they do that to you, tell me how you react. Yeah. If you can be as calm and healed and zen as
and just
you'd
be like
to be.
Cool.
It's been my goal, in all of this, in the wisdom I have worked so hard to accumulate. My goal was, can I be more zen? Can I just accept the things that are happening around me and not feel so out of control about all of it? So humor, I think, is a great way to lighten that, which brings me to the energy of humor. I'm kind of looking at that chart in Power versus Force, where different things have an energy level that can be calibrated by a scale. And I think that they've even gone through and given it a number, but the difference between like sarcasm, where it's kind of mixed with a little bit of confusion and dishonesty, is a lower vibration humor. I think it's easy. I think sarcasm is an easy thing to do. I absolutely engage with it way too much, especially with my kids. And I'll be like, oh, well, that was pleasant.
Great.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.
I'm sure I do it way too much, but just in being able to either engage with a level of humor that is self-deprecating or condescending to others, where that energy level lies in our body and where it's resonating out to the people that we're around, versus a lighthearted, higher vibration, which can be, again, like seeing this as if you could fast forward time and you're seeing it back. Isn't this funny that this happened? Right?
Yeah. I think it is easier to look back and reflect and let it be funny if you don't take it so seriously in the moment. I think maybe that's what you're trying to do. Is
so hard.
Don't take it so seriously. I mean, I know that there are moments that I took super, super serious and did a little bit of damage.
Yeah.
But
we do.
The thing is,
we all do it.
That I've learned is when my kids come to me and they say, hey, Mom, when this happened and you said this and you reacted this way, that really hurt me. And for me to go, oh, well, I mean, you shouldn't have done that. This is not easy. I like to look at them and say, I'm sorry that hurt you.
Yeah.
I didn't. That was not my intention to hurt you. I wish I would have done it differently. I love that you're talking to me about that. Let's open the conversation. Let's see what we can, how I can do better for you going forward.
Yeah.
So, a lot of it is a mutual respect. And I talk to my kids a lot about this from when they were little and they could understand what that meant. I'm asking you to respect me.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm not asking you to only do the right thing all the time, but have enough respect for what I'm asking of you.
Yeah.
To at least consider that I'm trying to guide you, right? Like, obviously, when they're little, it's not that heavy. It's not like you have to respect me or whatever. It's more of like, it's a guide. I'm just trying to guide you. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to tell you how to live your life. I'm not trying to control you,
Yeah.
but
You might want to consider.
but all I'm asking for is respect. And as long as you can respect me, I can respect you, and we can live in peace. I'm not going to be super angry at you when you make mistakes, when you do something. Everybody has to live and learn. Everybody does. But I don't ever want, and this is something I told them, especially as they got a little bit older, I don't ever want you to feel like you have to deal with it alone.
Yeah.
Right?
You're making a really good point that I'm realizing now, like kind of separates or discerns different types of humor, which is if the type of humor that you engage with makes you feel open and welcoming, like it connects and it has that level of respect, like you're saying, that is such a higher vibration frequency that like attracts versus the type of humor. And I think we've all met people where they're really funny. There are people that are really funny, but it makes you feel so uncomfortable to be around them because you think if I make a mistake or if I say something wrong or if I will be the joke here and they're not going to respect me. I will be used for humor, right? And you can admit that those people are funny. You can be like, that person is witty and clever and they come up with stuff, but I just don't want to be the butt of their joke. I don't want to be around them.
Yeah.
And to have a relationship with your kids or your friends or peers, whoever it is, to be like, I can engage with being funny or I can try, I can try to tap into that humorous side of myself. It's authentic and goofy and funny. I just don't want to make it so that, they feel like they can't come to me.
Right.
Or they can't, it's not connecting.
Right.
It's not, vulnerable in that way.
Yeah. It makes them feel unsafe.
Makes them feel unsafe.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's
a good point.
Definitely always a work in progress.
Yeah.
But having those open lines of conversation are going to help guide you on what works and what doesn't. Right. I don't ever want my children to feel like, oh my gosh, I did this wrong. I can't tell my mom.
Yeah.
Right. I want them to be the child that goes, oh my gosh, I messed up. I hope my mom can help me.
Yeah.
And I want to go to my mom.
Got to go to my mom for help. Yeah.
Right. Because in my childhood, it was, oh my gosh, I messed up. How can I hide this?
Yeah.
What can I do so that she never finds out that I did this?
Yeah.
Right. And that's not possible. But it adds that
fear.
level of anxiety, that level of fear, that level of shame that makes it really hard to have that higher vibration, to be an authentic person, because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be judged so heavily for this mistake that I can't go to the one person that I should be able to go to.
Yeah. And when there is a safe person, like mom, hopefully, we hope moms, dads are the safe space. You can see that development of humor, authenticity, vulnerability. It opens them up to be able to engage with that in the world. I've often done some emotional processing sessions for myself where I realized in some circumstances, if I had felt more safe at home, and I don't mean physically safe. I know my mom listens to this. She'll be like, what do you mean? No, I just mean like, can I emotionally be safe? Can I really, open myself up at home? And, do I have a space? I would have been able to tackle more things out in the world that were hard because it would have been maybe a little bit more like, oh, other people don't like me or other people don't get me, which was more often the truth.
Right.
Most people that I met were like, you're weird. I don't understand you. I don't know how to take you. And I would have felt more, maybe more with self-confidence, maybe able to be like, oh, it doesn't matter if they get me. I know they get me at home.
Right.
Like I'm safe there. Which I had to some extent, but everybody has their struggles. Not any home is perfect. So there were moments I think would have been better. But I do want to touch on before, because we need to get to our crystal of the week. And I want to touch on this idea real quick of when we're engaging with magic and healing in the world. First of all, humor and laughter is incredibly good for you. You burn 40 calories laughing for 15 minutes or 20 minutes. So just saying.
Yeah.
It's a good physical workout. But there's, studies proven that it shows for lowering your blood pressure and, physical transformations that happen in your body when you're laughing or when you're feeling good. So watching a good comedy and getting that laughter in. I've done a breathwork session, in fact, where it was an intense session. It felt like a cycling class almost because she had this loud pumping music and she was like on a microphone telling us like to do this breath.
Breathe, yeah.
And then she was like, and then when we get to a point where we're going to release, I'll tell you we're getting to that point and then you're going to hold your breath. Like after the release, then you hold your breath. The first release was crying and screaming, which was in the back of my head the whole time. I'm like, I'm not doing that. There's no way I'm going to feel comfortable enough to just be like, I felt so silly. But by the time it gets there, because you've been doing this breath that's basically hyperventilating yourself the whole time, it builds and builds and builds. And then everyone around you starts to scream and cry. And then you find yourself doing it. And you're like, this feels so good. And your tears and all the things. So emotional release coming out of the body, all of these things. And then on the second one, so we go back into the breath and we do that again for another 45 minutes.
It feels like forever. Yeah.
And she's, again, pumping you up and come on, you can do this and let's go. And I was like, this is so different than I thought it was going to be. A breathwork session I thought was like a meditation. No, it's like intense. And she gets to the point where she goes, okay, now this time when we do our release, I want you to laugh. And I want you to let yourself just laugh. And I'm like, again,
how?
I
don't feel like
unless something's funny I'm not going to just laugh. But for some reason, it bubbles up out of you. And then you're hearing other people laugh and you go, oh my gosh, I hear other people laugh. Yeah. Now I can laugh. And you just start laughing. Mm-hmm. And I think how amazing that we have the ability to get that release, that we can cry or we can laugh when we need to, when we feel like, I don't know, just anytime you feel like you're just really stuck, you feel like you're not yourself, you're in a funk. We all know what that feels like. We're kind of in that right now, you and I both. But we're just like, we got to do something to reset our system. And laughing can be a really positive outlet for that. So, yeah. So hopefully with this episode and in talking about all of the things to consider, we can consider how humor plays a part in, how we can be mindful of where that humor comes from and where we're engaging with it. I engage with it in that I realize that to other people, when I talk about healing, when I talk about magic, when I talk about witchcraft, when I talk about paganism, when I talk about the woo-woo stuff, I know how I appear to other people. I know the stereotype. So in owning the title of witch, I know it means something very sacred. It's not lost on me that the work I do, I take very seriously. I want very much to be professional. I want very much to be authentic. I want people to know that it's real and it's not something I play with. I take lightheartedly for the most part, but to sort of make fun of myself and then also kind of engage in that playful, like, yep, I'm a witch. Daybreak's local witch. People come to me for spells and curses, right? I make fun because I know that it kind of eases other people and makes them feel like, okay, well, let me learn a little bit more about this rather than write it off just yet.
Putting their defenses up, it kind of eases your way into kind of letting them know, hey, this is not something you should be afraid of or nervous about. This is actually really cool. And it's something that if you're open to, I want to have that conversation with you. And I think that's really cool. Because I have the same kind of thing. I get a whole mix of people that come into the space looking at the crystals and feeling the energy and what they're looking for and the questions that they have. And there are people that are like, wow, these are really cool rocks.
Yeah. You're like, yes, they are.
Yeah. So then you kind of have to learn to navigate your way through that. And a lot of times I do find myself like making jokes about it, right? But not on a level of making fun of the crystals themselves, more of just like, isn't it cool what Mother Nature can provide?
Yeah.
And a lot of people see that as, oh, maybe a little bit of a joke, but more of like kind of opens their mind to,
Yes.
oh, maybe there's something to this. But then there's also the people that are like totally into it.
Yeah.
And they want to talk about it and they want to get into that conversation of, I've used this to help me with that. And I've used this to help me with that. What have you done? And having that whole conversation. But a lot of times the humor comes in and you want to talk about, people think I'm crazy. I'm going to talk about this and you're going to think I'm crazy, but I had this and I had that. So it's like, you do that. You make fun of it so that it eases people into, maybe you're not as weird as I thought you were. Maybe you're not as crazy as I thought you were. Or maybe there's something to this.
Yeah,
right?
because if you take it so seriously that you're there, you seem like just as people that they make fun of, where, you're like I always think of the lady on Mars Attacks. Have you ever seen that movie?
Oh, maybe a long time ago.
We need to watch that again. We need to do a What We Are Watching Mars Attacks, because there's this woman who, when the aliens come, she's like, they're here to save us. I just know it. And she's got crystals and she's just, all decked out, and she puts her crystals out on her little cloth, and she's like meditating, and the aliens are coming, and she's on her car up above the valley looking and watching everything. She watches them slaughter everybody. And she's like, oh no. But they present her very much as this archetype of the crazy woo-woo lady, right?
The hippie.
Crystals, and she's dressed in certain ways. And she's, and so I'm very fully aware of that archetype, of that stereotype. And I think that is probably how people view me. They probably view me as somebody walking around just being like, ooh. So if I don't address it, if I don't, go, yep, I'm that crazy lady that you've seen on whatever. And yep, I'm the one walking around with crystals in her bra. And yep, that's me. I'm doing that. Then at least we can start a conversation. At least it opens up to, we can talk about it. But I think that I just have to say, it's interesting as we're talking about this. I didn't even think about this, but I make a lot of jokes about Jesus. I love to joke about religion and Jesus and things like that. Especially here in our local culture, you walk into an art gallery at particular places. I won't say where. You will see artwork of Jesus, and my family and I, my youngest son, this is probably so bad, but we've made so many jokes that he makes them too. But I'll be like, oh, look, it's white Jesus. And I like to make that joke because Jesus wasn't white.
Yeah.
And he likes to be depicted as white here in our culture, here in this little white town we live in, this little place. And I like to make these jokes because I want to point out things. But I also want to be clear, and I am very clear with people, that Jesus is sacred to me. The healing energy and work that I do, I very much work with Jesus. I work with the energy of the healing, and call upon the wisdom of Jesus as an ascended master. So it's not that I'm going to use humor to downplay the fact that someone like Jesus or Buddha or the ascended masters, they were turning their glory to good. Their teachings were turn the glory to good, or to God, glory to the good, not me, right? So for me, it's like, it's funny to me.
This is exactly what he didn't want.
Right, exactly.
He didn't want to be that depiction of perfection of all the things that he's currently being depicted as. It's also, when you look at the stories of Jesus, the original stories of Jesus and where he came from, it wasn't where people were white. So I get where you're coming from. It's
so artists, go ahead and do your beautiful renditions of someone you find very sacred and inspiring in your life. However, whitewashing history is a thing.
Yeah.
So maybe don't. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
So let's get to our crystal. I said I would really like to talk about humor today, and this is what you brought us.
Yeah. So it's interesting when people say specific things to me, what pops into my head. And carnelian came to mind. It's one that makes me happy. It's one I look at and it brings joy and happiness to my life. So this is the one that came to my mind specifically. I think a lot of times when you think about joy and happiness and all of that, it comes from our solar plexus. But for me, carnelian is more connected to the sacral.
Yes.
But the sacral is where our creativity comes from. It's where our passion comes from. It's where I feel most connected to my true authentic self. So, for whatever reason, carnelian is the one that came to my mind when you said you wanted to talk about humor.
I'm going to show this one too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I definitely felt it. Yeah, when you said carnelian, I was like, yeah. I don't know why exactly yet, but I know.
Right.
That's great.
It's
creativity too, like you mentioned, because that is kind of humor in a nutshell. Like,
yeah, you were talking about your aunt that created those funny cards. So as you were talking about that, the carnelian started kind of coming back into my mind too. As it taps into that part of ourselves that sometimes we don't know how to get into. And like, if I'm feeling blocked, if I'm trying to come up with something to build my business or something, I always put carnelian close by, or I hold it, or I have it in my pocket, or I wear it on a bracelet, something like that. I feel like the carnelian just kind of helps me direct that creativity where it needs to be.
Absolutely.
So I guess that's why I chose it. I didn't know that humor and creativity were so like intertwined, but they really are, because if you think about it, to make someone laugh, you have to create something funny out of something, right?
And you have to have that door, the way I view it, it's like a door, open for creative flow. Right? So I feel like the most funny people that I can think of, and anything funny that I've ever seen on entertainment, it is the people who aren't trying to be funny. And I've been in enough like plays. I used to do melodramas, and we did some comedy plays back in my theater days. But the advice from our theater teacher and our coach was, when you want something to be funny, you have to pretend it's not. And in order for the desperation and the I really want this has to be moved out of that way.
Right.
Or are people going to laugh? The anticipation of, oh, I'm saying this really funny thing, so here it comes, and it's funny.
Yeah.
And then did anybody laugh?
Yeah.
That becomes immediately not funny.
Yes.
So I know we can all be guilty of it. We want to be funny, or we want, people to laugh, whatever. But I feel like creativity in all forms is the same in that way. Is the more you force it, the more you try, I guess, the more you block it. Versus just being like, I'm just going to open the door and be ready for whatever flows through it.
Yeah.
And let it flow through me and out. So the sacral chakra is kind of that door to me of creativity. It's also the womb.
Right.
So birthing something creative or in the womb.
Yeah.
So this is a great stone for that. And abundance and wealth. It's also connected to money.
Yeah.
I bought a carnelian a couple months ago because we were doing our wealth course. And I was like, I need something for my altar that will help me tap into that, tap into wealth building. And I deserve wealth, and my ideas and my creativity will flow into wealth. So there is our beautiful crystal. You can come into Rising Moon Minerals and get yours, or go online.
Yeah, come into the shop here in Riverton or by the Cinemark Theater in Mountain View Village. or we have a very good selection online at risingmoonminerals.com. You can follow me on Instagram, rising_moon_minerals. I'm also on TikTok, starting to build a little bit of a following there.
Yeah.
So
I saw you getting some views.
it was, it's been really good.
Yeah.
So that's where carnelian comes in for me, the whole social media thing. I think that's where I pull it in the most, is I feel like I struggle.
Yeah.
I struggle with being creative enough to even put myself out there.
Yep.
So
Yeah. And again, it works best when you're not trying. Like when you're just like, oh, I think this is funny today. I'll post this on social media. It often goes better than when you're like, I gotta try to make a really clever reel for my social media. At least for me, that's how it's been working. And I am on social media as well. I am on TikTok at Prism Healing, Instagram at Prism_healing, and Facebook, Courtney Pearls Prism Healing. Prism Healing and Rising Moon Minerals are sponsors of this podcast. So you can also check out this podcast's pod page, practically-magic.com. Magic is with a CK. Always have to point that out. The old spelling, magic. Just the correct spelling, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I was a phonics teacher. Come on. What are we doing? All right. So Practically Magic podcast website is where you can write in your questions. You can do that on any of our social media as well. But if you have a question or something you'd like to know more about on the podcast, I have a couple things coming up for us next week. Some people wrote in some things and I can't wait to feature it.
Awesome.
What else? We would like to thank our sponsors, Ride the Wave Media. If you haven't checked us out on YouTube yet, Practically Magic channel, that is where we need subscribers because that's a fairly new channel. We've been putting all of the past season 1, season 2, and now season 3 episodes on there. And if we get enough subscribers, we can do, I can start doing a YouTube channel live card readings like I do on TikTok. And I do that every Monday. So if you want to check that out, come and do that. And our other sponsor is Sunshine Community. Thank you so much, Sunshine Community, for being the sunshine in our community. And that's it for today. So go make magic, witches and wizards. Go. Get out. Go.